Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, find a way to win, find a way to lose. Hopefully everyone is enjoying their holidays, and hopefully everyone's going to go into a great New Year's. Because I know somebody who has big plans in 2025, and that's Deontay Wilder. With that being said, y'all make sure you like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Leave that donation for that fried rice and chicken wings. Now listen, man. 2025, is that going to be Deontay Wilder's year? Because the return of Deontay Wilder is amongst us. You're hearing Malik Scott at every opportunity. He gets a microphone in front of him. He talks about Deontay Wilder and him returning to the ring, saying it's not over. TMZ had got a hold of Deontay Wilder, and Deontay Wilder talked a little bit about his plans, and retirement was not in the plans. And he looks like he's full steam ahead with plans on returning in 2025 and having a big comeback and trying to find himself back on top of the heavyweight division. Now, I'm going to tell you, there's some people who are a bit pessimistic about Deontay Wilder and him getting back to the top of the heavyweight division. They don't even have the confidence that Deontay Wilder can beat C-level heavyweights. They truly feel that Tyson Fury took some out of Deontay Wilder as a result with the beatdowns in the second and third fight by Tyson Fury, and having Malik Scott train him to be Malik Scott and try to box in Coochie Coo instead of being what Deontay Wilder was. You know, the bronze bomber, and tranquilizing people with the big right hand. That Wilder no longer wants to commit to letting the right hand go, because Malik Scott took that from him, and Tyson Fury took his confidence to throw it. But I'm going to tell you this, man, when it comes to the history of boxing, you know, it just every blue moon, you have a fighter come around, and they make a name for themselves as being extremely electrifying and hard hitters, man. Heard of Julian Jackson, Shavers, of course, Mike Tyson, Roberto Duran. And whether you like Deontay Wilder or not, because some people don't like the things he said, or whatever the reason is, right? You can't sit here and say that Deontay Wilder didn't give us electrifying knockouts with his electrifying knockout power. You can't say that. Now, if you caveat that statement with, oh, yeah, but look at who he was fighting, then you're a hater. Hold your horses. Let's not take it to the stupid. Give credit where credit is due. Same way with me. It's hard for me to say it. When it comes to Tyson Fury clipping Wilder in that second and third fight, I try to leave it there, because the reality is that was the outcome. Nothing else matters, really. That's the outcome. Same thing with Wilder. Nothing else matters. The outcome was he gave us electrifying knockouts. And Wilder, what I think made a big difference for Deontay Wilder, and hopefully it will show up in 2025, just got to wait and see, is the fact that he was able to captivate the audiences and even the boxing casuals because he had an aggressive style and he was aggressive outside the ring. However, you look at Deontay Wilder now, he's talking about ayahuasca. He's talking about hallucinogens and shit. He want to love everybody. It's like, what happened to till this day? What happened to, no, man, I don't just want, I really want to know what it feel like to kill a man. I want to know what it feel like to kill a man in the ring. Now, I'm not saying I agree with all that. But what I'm saying is, it's pretty intriguing to know you had somebody who was putting out electrifying knockouts who's saying that he wants to catch a body. He wants to kill someone. Made you want to tune in and watch him fight because you knew he had the capability and the capacity and that left and right hand, especially that right hand, to do it. But nonetheless, old Wilder hit a roadblock. Man was on cruise control. Ran into a roadblock with that damn Tyson Fury and Kinahan and everybody else, didn't he? And that Jack Reese. Anyway, in 2025, we're going to see if Wilder can shake off what happened and get beyond that roadblock, because I don't think he's ever been able to move beyond that impediment that Tyson Fury postured on him, which are those losses and the way he lost. But if he can do that, then I'm telling you, those back-to-back losses, they're forever going to be etched in our minds, but I think we can move beyond it along with Wilder. But I'm telling you, man, as far as discussions of his future in the sport, he's going to have to do something. And I don't think he should come back like he did after fighting Parker, losing to Parker, and putting him in the ring with Zhang. I don't think he should come back and fight a top-notch fighter like that. Especially that Zhang fight. Like, I'll be honest with you, I was like, there's a sliver of hope here that Wilder can tranquilize the big Chinaman. Anybody take offense to me saying Chinaman, he'll screw you, all right? It's a conversation, because I get people in the comments, man. I make jokes about everything. I said some shit about Mexican fighters coming over here and something about, better be careful with Trump. Somebody like, oh, you making fun of the Mexicans. Like, my man, my great-great-grandfather come from Guadalajara, Jalisco. So get out of here. Now back on the subject. I don't know what Wilder was thinking, but I know when they're paying you $14, $15 million to get in the ring, it's worth it. But I don't know what that man was thinking to come in there and fight Zhili Zhang. Wilder, less than 220 pounds. He ain't letting his hands go. That shit just had, just bad written all over it. Disaster written all over it. Suicide written all over it. And that's exactly what happened in there, man. There was one point like Wilder landed something pretty decent. Like he may have hurt Zhang. And when I say hurt, maybe he caught his attention. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's the kind of situation where Zhang is in a room and you're like at a holiday party and they play a game like someone wants to throw grapes across the room and you catching them in your mouth and shit. And then somebody gets cute and they decide instead of throwing a grape, they throw a fucking plum and you're thinking it's a grape and a big ass plum hits you in your mouth. You're like, what the? That wasn't part of the plan. Creates a little bit of an inconvenience, but doesn't ruin the party. And I think that's kind of how it was with Deontay Wilder, man. Zhang was in there, catching grapes and shit. The Wilder just happened to get a little bit of leverage on the shot and boom, put a plum in his mouth. And Zhang was like, what? I didn't really like that, but didn't really ruin my time in this ring. And then you saw what happened. Zhang got his ass up out of there. But as far as Wilder's career and what his next steps could be, I don't know if how it's going to affect the heavyweight division, but I am rooting for Deontay Wilder. Now I'm gonna tell you this: no matter whether you agree with Wilder returning or not, I think his return is going to be highly anticipated. But the comeback fight is going to be a critical moment for Wilder, for his fans, I think for his health, because to me, if he wants to prove that he still has what it takes to compete at the highest level, he's definitely going to have to, at some point, seek top competition. But he can't allow the fans' eagerness to see him get into the ring propel him towards a fight with a Bacoli. Don't do it. Just stop, because that is suicide. Now, what I'll also say, right, when you start floating around possible opponents, if we're going to sit here and brainstorm like who Wilder should fight next, before we get to that point, why don't we brainstorm who Wilder should bring into his camp to help him? Because Malik Scott's not it, people. Maybe Malik Scott can do it with other fighters. He's already had a little bit of success, but for the most part, he's more missed than hit, okay? When it comes to developing fighters. And a fighter like Wilder, as far as Wilder in the ring, Wilder's been more hit than miss. Because all of a sudden, man ain't really got no defense or offense. So he's there like a sitting duck just going in goddamn circles in the ring. But who are they going to bring in? When is Wilder going to sit back? And if Malik Scott really loves him, when is Malik Scott going to say, hey, look, Wilder, how about this? I love you as a brother. I want the best for you. Maybe we should bring someone else in. If we're going to hit 2025, hit the ground running, before we start talking opponents, let's bring someone else in who can possibly help us, because I'm not getting you to where I need you to be. And if they can do that, then I think we're getting somewhere. But at the same time, I just don't think that kind of progress can be made. From what I understand, listening to Malik Scott talk, other trainers talk, people who are close to Wilder, even Wilder himself, he can be stubborn. And there's certain things he doesn't want to do. And he truly believes that, he was anointed, right? And that he has God-given power. And because he has God-given power, he doesn't need to train like other fighters. He can just show up and show out. And he also believes that, fighters had to be perfect. Every second of the round for 12 rounds with him, he just needs to be perfect for 1 second. Now, I'm going to tell you, if he still has that mentality, well, then to Deontay Wilder, I got to say, hey, hold your horses and stop taking it to the stupid. All that shit was cute, and it was working before you ran into goddamn Tyson Fury. But since then, it hasn't worked. So we got to be honest about Wilder and who could possibly come in and train him or help out. And if you ask me, I don't know, because I think Wilder's chin is gone. So just trying to be fair to Wilder, I almost feel like at this point, with his chin being so questionable, he may need to bring out someone who can help him as a boxer puncher. But he's not really a boxer. Remember, he was the guy with the electrifying knockouts, the guy who was being aggressive. That's where he had his success. For him to be on the back foot, that's just not the answer for him. Can't get the leverage he wants, and he's not a guy who should be fighting off the ropes. He got those. Let me tell you, when you have an 80+ inch reach, you look crazy. You're like an octopus with tentacles just flailing and shit in the water, and because Hood Champion just speared him and shit. That's how Wilder and Fury and those tall fighters look with the 80+ inch reach when they're trying to fight in close. Their arms are too long for that shit, unless you're Anthony Joshua. But we're going to see, because I do believe that for Wilder's next fight, I think there are a lot of platforms that are going to want to host him. Now, can he still come and command a $14, $15, $20, $25 million payday? I don't know. But he can come and get paid, probably damn near close to $10 million, coming back to the ring. Because the one thing, that's for sure, right, is supply and demand, people. There's a low supply of what Deontay Wilder has shown that he's been able to do. Not recently, but we know that what he should be able to do against the right opponent. And there's a high supply, there's a high demand to see that. There'll always be a demand to see electrifying knockouts. So Wilder's going to always, in some way, shape, or form, be in demand as long as he's still fighting. But aside from his unmatched knockout power, you really got to start taking a look at heavyweights and seeing who could be next for him. Now, let me pull this up, because we need to take a look at this. Oh boy, here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Now, when you look at this right here, remember, I don't think Wilder should get in there with any killer. Usyk and Wilder make for an interesting fight, but Usyk won't fight him. Wilder's just not in the rankings to deserve that fight at this time. You gotta look at Deontay Wilder and where he was. Where is that? I gotta pull it up right here. You gotta look at what Wilder has gone through. Close this out. This is Deontay Wilder right here, okay? 43 wins, 4 losses. 42 of the 43 wins by knockout. But this is the problem with Deontay Wilder. In his last 5 fights, he's only had 1 win. Okay? So that's problematic. So for anyone thinking Wilder going to come back and go directly at Usyk, it's not going to happen. But him fighting Fury a fourth time, if Wilder was winning, yeah, it would have been interesting. But again, that'd be like Fury fighting Usyk a third time, Wilder fighting Fury a fourth time. I mean, it almost doesn't make sense for Wilder and Fury to fight again because you just figure Fury will always beat him. Daniel Dubois is running around here like the Terminator. So I think that's the worst thing Wilder can do. But the one thing about Dubois, where Wilder may have, there may be a sliver of hope there, is Dubois just coming straight forward. He does a lot of shit, head movement, footwork. He uses his arms, his defense, because he has long arms. He's a strong kid. But he could be there to be hit with the right hand if Wilder has the goddamn confidence to throw it. But I still think Dubois would, slaughter him. Then Joseph Parker. That was Wilder's fight to win. But he didn't let his hands go. Zhilei Zhang, just leave him alone at all costs. Caballero, it's another one I think where Wilder will just sit there and get outboxed and get outworked and get frustrated. He may be able to get the right hand off, but I just doubt it because Caballero fights dirty. He was fighting filthy against Frank Sanchez. So that's why, again, y'all know I don't like Caballero. I don't like him. I don't like looking at him. I don't like nothing about him. With his fighting style, I think something about him he's suspicious to me. Martin Bakole, please don't bring Bakole back over here to the United States. Bakole is out here killing people in the ring. But let's see what happens with Bakole in his next fight. I think he's fighting F.A. Ajagba. I think he's going to destroy Ajagba. That's just me. But if Ajagba comes and he clips Bakole, good job for Ajagba. I actually know there's someone who lives out here by me who was on the Nigeria Olympic boxing team, and he knows Ajagba personally. And I know he would be happy to see Ajagba get a big win. Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, I think that fight is more even now than it's ever been. But it's kind of lost its intrigue, and I just don't think fans are going to be, head over heels about that fight. But it's still something we would watch, right? Still a good fight. You just want to see who gets knocked out because you know for a fact Joshua's chin isn't the best. His confidence isn't really there, but he's powerful. Wilder's chin isn't the best. His confidence isn't really there, but he's powerful. So that could be a good fight. But realistically, Hrgovic would be a good opponent for Wilder. But I'm going to tell you, I think Hrgovic beats Wilder. Hrgovic can fight. I see people, just because Dubois beat him, they're saying Hrgovic was overrated. Everybody can't be overrated just because they take a loss. You come back here. Everyone can't be overrated, man. Just because you take a loss, you overrated now? That's not how that's supposed to work. Nonetheless, Hrgovic and Wilder could be the perfect fight. But I don't know if Wilder can come in and stand up to the artillery that Hrgovic is going to be shelling out the way Dubois did. But Dubois fought like a pig, headbutts, elbows, everything, to get that win. Wilder, one thing about Wilder, he's a clean fighter. One thing about Wilder, he ain't doing a bunch of dirty shit. Got to give him his credit. But against these guys, he may have to figure something out. Malik Scott but what can Malik Scott show him? Because Malik Scott, if he knew how to do those things, he would have did it when he was fighting. So, again, I'm not saying that's always the case because you have a lot of trainers. I mean, look at Bomac, what he's done with Terrence Crawford. Yeah, there's a couple other trainers there. They work together as a team, but no one really knows any of them. But look what they've done with what's his name? Crawford. Look at what Derrick James did with Earl Spence. And there are look at what Freddie Roach has been able to do, but he worked under Eddie Futch. But what I'm saying is, a lot of these trainers who've developed very successful fighters, they weren't the best pro fighter when they were pro. So I don't want to just sit here and just say, well, Malik Scott can't help Wilder because he wasn't that successful as a pro. And what I mean by that is he never won a title or nothing, but he knows boxing. I'm not seeing the results. And you can say it's because Wilder's fighting top-notch guys are much bigger than him, etc., etc. I hear excuses there. Because when Wilder was out here destroying guys who were in the top 10, although people say, oh, he never fought a top 10 guy. Stop it. Yes, he did. Okay, he beat everybody. So you got to give a man credit. But right now, I think the deterioration of Deontay Wilder can be attributed to his stubbornness, but I think a whole lot of it has to do with Malik Scott. Just my opinion. Then you got Wardley, who's a young gunner, and he's on a roll right now. And I just think Wilder should leave him alone too, because it's when you see Wilder hits hard, he knocks people out. Wardley breaks faces. So you saw Wardley did to Frazier. I just think Wilder would suffer the same fate if he faced a killer like Wardley, who's on that front foot, aggressive. Wardley ain't nothing but Deontay Wilder. On that front foot, aggressive and looking to get his right hand off. He's just what Wilder used to be. So that would be, I think, a horrible matchup, but Wilder would be a good springboard opponent for Wardley, because Wardley would clip him, and then Wardley is already in the mix, but he'd be right in the middle of the action if he can get a fight like Wilder and knock him out. But for Deontay Wilder, I'm thinking Flip Hrgovic. Let me expand this so y'all can see some of these names. You got, he better leave Otama alone too. Jared Anderson. Jared Anderson's a good fight for Wilder. Otto Wallen is a good fight for Wilder. Derek Chisora may be a good fight. Gerald Big Baby Miller. And you look, I'm kind of calling out the low-hanging fruit. I'm not trying to get Wilder killed. But those are guys who I think will be a good fight for him, man. Even AJ. But if we want to really play it safe, put him in there with Gerald Big Baby Miller. Put him in there with, Otto Wallen can fight, though. He got Joey Gamache training him. Big Baby Miller, Hrgovic, Wallen, Chisora, those kind of names. But don't go put him in there with no Dubois. And Usyk would be an interesting fight. But I just think Usyk, if Wilder can let the right hand go, he may have the opportunity. But Usyk, if he throws and misses and gets off balance, Usyk's gonna bing him and probably drop him and knock him out. But Kubrat Pulev could be a good fight too. Anyway, I think 2025 could be Deontay Wilder's year. They just have to figure it out and pick the right opponent. I mean, we talk about a potential fight with Anthony Joshua. That's been in long discussions. Right now, it's more of a possibility than ever. Will it happen? I don't know, because Eddie Hearn has big plans for AJ to keep making as much money off of him as he can. AJ signed his life away to the zone. He has to give him 2 fights a year. He can't afford to lose again. So I think you're going to see AJ do what I think Wilder should do and kind of pick a low-hanging fruit just to get a win, and so he can stay on the on the heavyweight map. Because if he takes another loss, he'd probably drop off as well. And again, you're talking about raw power in Wilder, and then with AJ, you're talking about raw power and technical ability. I just think that's a great fight, but again, Wilder should be careful messing around with AJ. Tyson Fury is a no-go. And at the end of the day, it's all about Wilder's mindset and how he wants to train and what his trainer is doing with him and what he can bring out of Wilder as a fighter. Just once the fire's gone, people. And there's nothing wrong with Wilder chilling, man. The man, what he came in boxing to do, he did that and so much more. So if your heart's not in it, don't do it. It's like when I retired from the military. Let me tell you, man, it took me, I always kind of wanted to get out. But my dad was like, yo, stick it out. Last hired, first fired in the civilian sector. Get that forever money. And then make a decision once you get to that point. So when I hit that, I think around 16 years, I was already like, man, I'm ready to bounce. But I hit the 20-year mark. And actually, I wanted to stay around longer when I hit 20 because I was like, shit, I'm there now. I can retire anytime. But it just got hard to put that uniform on. You just get a point where you're like, I'm over this. People issues, all these briefings, deploying, TDYs, business trips all the time, had a family, and your priorities change. And I think that's what happened to Deontay Wilder. His priorities changed, and he has a lot of crap going on in his personal life, good and bad. So to me, he needs a chill. Anyway, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. If Deontay Wilder comes back, I think he'll have an impact on the heavyweight division. Significant or not, it'll be an impact. And we'll see what happens. Y'all keep cool in the breeze.